Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. Today, Jennifer and I are going to talk about women in sports. Jennifer and I actually became friends because we were on the swimming and diving team together when we were in high school. So we're going to start by talking about our own personal experiences with sports and being athletic, and then we'll broaden and bloom from there. So Jennifer, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Wow, that's interesting that you said about being athletic, because I would have never used that term to describe myself. Not once, not in my whole life have I thought I'm athletic, but I have been involved in a lot of sport.
Not even now?
No, I mean, I just never thought of that as a description. So it was even hard for me to say I am a runner, and I've been running for over 5 years.
Right.
So, I don't know why. Probably because, well, in my running, I don't run very fast, so I don't see myself as a runner, but I'm training for a marathon. So I say it now, I am a runner.
Mm-hmm.
But even in my head, I think, yeah, you kind of jog. But whatever, jogging.
That's okay.
You're
still going faster than anybody who's standing still. So that's fine.
True. That's true. Okay. So my first experience with sports is that I was raised in a family that plays a lot of sports. Everybody in my family played baseball. And so I played softball since I probably could breathe and walk, but I never really liked it. It wasn't for me. And then my brother started playing soccer, and I also played soccer. I was for a long time the only girl on the soccer teams that I was on. But people tend to have a little bit of respect for me, even though I couldn't play, because they'd say, "Oh, that's Randy Moorman's little sister," and he was good. So they would just assume that I was also good. And I think I was fair. I was a fair player, but I was never like a great player. I was a lazy player.
Okay.
And then in junior high, I tried out for the volleyball team, and it was the one and only team I ever got cut from. Of course, I didn't know how to play volleyball when I tried out for the volleyball team. Then in high school, you and I were on the diving team together, and let's see, I remember our very first meeting, we were all sitting in a circle, and the coach came around and he said, "Are you a diver or swimmer? Diver or swimmer?" And my best friend Jenny Kent was in there with us, and she said, "I'm a diver." She was sitting next to me. So I looked at her and he looked at me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm a diver." I had never ever even really been on a diving board, but I was a diver. And then I also played soccer in high school, which I truly loved. And then I joined, oh, I forgot, in junior high, I decided I should join the ski club. I had never been skiing before, but we joined.
Really?
Yeah. And let's see, what else have I done? And I run. I think, I might not be athletic, but I would call myself adventurous. I always want to try something new. If I could try scuba diving, I would love to do that. If I could learn to surf, at least try it, I would really like to try it. So I think maybe not athletic. I don't think I've ever been really great at any sport, but good enough to try. How about you? How'd you get involved?
I like that. Well, I started swimming when I was really little. I think I took classes when I was maybe 7, something like that. It was really little because my brother and I took classes together because my mom wanted us to know how to swim. And I remember the first class, everything was going great. Except my brother was a little bit of a chicken and didn't want to put his head in the water. But I was going like gangbusters. And my teacher actually had me help teach the other kids because I was like, I'm doing okay. And the teacher's like, well, you don't really need me, so help me with these kids. So by the time my mom came to pick us up, I was helping to teach the other kids. So I sort of took to it pretty easily and pretty quickly. and was going to start on like a little kid swim team. And then my family moved before our first meet, which devastated me.
Oh,
As a little kid, I was devastated.
yeah.
And so I didn't actually get to compete until high school when I joined the swim team. And I remember it must have been the summer before ninth grade. And I think there was there must be the same meeting that you were talking about. And I said swimmer, and, was on the team and noticed that everybody was amazing. I just felt, you know, no pun intended, but it's funny. I felt like a fish out of water. Like I felt like I did not fit at all. I felt like everybody else was way better than me, but I was so excited to be there and was so excited to be on a team. And then the coach of the team, I think, had a conversation with the diving coach and basically was like, okay, please go talk to that kid because she needs to try something other than swimming because I don't think she's good enough. That's what I think. I mean, that's probably totally wrong. But the diving coach, Kelly, came over, asked me if I wanted to try it. I said, okay, sure, why not? And from the second I did the very first thing on the board, it just felt like I was at home. It felt right in my body. Everything that the coaches asked me to do, I did it. The crazy stuff that we ended up doing in practice. I mean, that was it for me. That was the first time, maybe for years, that I really felt in my element and in my power, and I felt really, really good at something other than school. And to the point where I got a coach during off season. I don't know if you knew that, but I would work out during off season.
No, I didn't know that. Cheater.
I was I
I'm
was
just
just like,
kidding.
I'm in, this is it. I was like, I'm gonna go to the Olympics. I was not going to the Olympics, but anyway, I was convinced. I was like, I'm gonna move out to California. I'm gonna
Wow.
work out with the coaches out there. And I was in, right?
That's so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, that was literally how I saw myself. I was
A
a
diver.
diver who was also smart. That's how I saw myself.
Damn.
And it got to the point where I would have dreams that I was doing certain dives and I would feel my muscles the way that they would feel in a dive. I mean, it was the most amazing feeling. And I identified with it the way that some people identify with their jobs or a religion or whatever, but it was the first thing in my life that was my thing, right? So, and plus there was the camaraderie of it, of being on a team and having a coach and working on something that I was really passionate about and felt like I was good at. And yeah, I mean, I loved every single minute of it. And then, I went to college, and actually even when I was choosing where to apply to colleges, if the schools didn't have a diving team, I wasn't even looking. Like it wasn't even a consideration.
Oh gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah. And so that's thankfully, I mean, I made my choice for all the wrong reasons, but thankfully I ended up going to a really good school. That's why I went to Vanderbilt, is because they had a really good diving team. Of course, when I got there, I was like, whoa, yeah, no. I am not in this league at all. I mean, they were amazing. They were fantastic. These are amazing divers, right? Like these were people who started when they were 4 years old and they were fantastic. But I mean, it was such an amazing thing for me to be a part of it.
So did you dive at Vanderbilt?
I did not compete my freshman year. Well, actually, I never competed at all. I really wasn't at the level that they were. but I worked out with them every day. I was considered part of the team. And then the summer after freshman year of college, I was back in Kalamazoo and I was running to keep in shape for diving. And I fell and I broke my elbow.
Oh my gosh.
And so I missed like 6 or 8 weeks of training, which, you know, in collegiate sports, 6 to 8 weeks is basically a lifetime.
The season.
Yeah. And
Season.
so when I got back, I had to sit down with my coach and let her know what had happened and that I really didn't get to work out very much during the summer. And I had to, you know, start working to help pay for school, blah, blah, blah. And so I had to quit the team. And I was so upset and I was so devastated. I mean, I bawled telling my coach that I wasn't going to be able to practice anymore and be on the team. And oh God, I mean, it literally was like somebody took a limb from me, you know, because I identified with it so much. And I enjoyed being physically good at something because I mean, I'm not a land jock at all. I really wanted to play soccer, but I'm not built for it. I just don't have, you know, and so land sports were never my thing, but oh my God, aqua jock, that was me. That was my thing. That was my saving grace. Right. And so when I couldn't do it anymore, oh, it was like somebody stabbed me in the heart. But having been part of a sport and being part of a team and, you know, working really hard for something was probably one of the best things for me as far as my own personal development. And I don't think I realized that until after college, because then you start to meet people who aren't involved in sports and they're supposed to be adults, and you can tell that there's certain qualities that they don't display, like they don't get along well with others, or they don't know how to be part of a team, or they don't know how to lose well, or, you know, things like that. And I just thought, oh, I got way more out of that experience than just being able to do a 1.5 somersault, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just, yeah, I mean, and I didn't come from a necessarily athletic family. My mom never participated in sports. My brother was really athletic. He played soccer, he played baseball, he played basketball for a little bit. He tried football for like 1 second and then he got hit in the face, and poor thing, that pretty face, he just couldn't take it. Which I know that sounds very like I'm making fun of my brother, but I'm not. I'm just teasing him a little bit. But he is a very good looking guy. And so probably he got hit in the face and was like, that's not going to work for me, which I get it. I don't want to get hit in the face either. But yeah, so I just think sports in some sort of organized activity like that are so beneficial for a person's development. I think you learn lessons that you take throughout your life.
Trying to think of what lessons I've learned. I'm sure there are many. I can't
There
think
are
of
some,
right
I'm
now.
sure.
Well, okay. What I can say is through kind of my mom and my dad, through their advocacy, I feel like they set the stage for women in sports. Thinking about playing soccer in high school, we were the first, when I was a freshman, when we were freshmen, it was the first year we had a women's soccer team. So
What?
yeah, it was the first
Wait,
year.
at our high school?
Yep. And we were all, there were a lot of players on the team who had never played soccer before. I was not one of them. I had played. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about that. Now that I think about it, maybe the team had been in motion for a couple years, but it certainly wasn't very long. I think we were the first group of players on the team who had ever played before high school.
Okay.
So I remember playing with some seniors. Actually, I guess they had been on the team for a while, but we were freshmen coming up that actually knew how to play the game. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I think that changed things a little bit. Um, but one of the things I remember is when I was on my first league, I think this was on an indoor team, but it might have been outdoor. Um, being one of the only girls, I had a coach who really didn't think that girls should play soccer. And
Oh,
so I was at every practice, but when it came to game time, he wasn't letting me play.
no.
Yeah, this is true. And my dad asked me about it. He was like, "Hey, how come you haven't been out on the field? Have you been skipping practice? Have you been not trying very hard?" And I said, "No, no, my coach just told me that you know, that he didn't think girls should play soccer." And my dad was like, "Oh," he didn't say a word. Got to the next game.
Mhm.
The coach didn't put me in. Coach didn't put me in. My dad walked up to the coach and said, "Like to see you outside for a few minutes."
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
not kidding. So my dad went outside with the coach. I never knew what he said to the coach. And there
Mhm.
was no fight, there were no fist throwing, nothing like that. Um, Came back in. We must have been on halftime or something because the game was paused. And then the game started again. And the next thing I know, the coach said, "Mormon, you're in." And I went in and I played. And I played every game from then on. Not very much, but I did get some play time. And
Wow.
I have no idea what my dad said, but the one thing that I mean, it's just a memory. I've written about it on Father's Day and other times. It's just this memory of like this strong man in a very silent, kind of quiet strength,
Mhm.
sticking up for his daughter, saying that women do play sports. I have never forgotten that.
That's amazing.
And I have another experience with a kid on a team. There was this kid that went to our high school. His name was John Tyndall. A lot of people probably know him.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. And we were playing soccer and I wasn't very good. And again, I was the only girl. And you know, when you're on a sport and they're like, everybody grab a partner, everybody do da da da. Well, I
Yeah.
never had a partner because I was the girl. No one wanted to play. And I wasn't learning very fast. And same thing, the coach didn't think girls should play soccer. And he said to me one day, he was like, "Do you really want to play soccer?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to learn." And he said, "I'm your partner from now on." And he was my partner for the rest of the year and taught me how to play
Wow.
soccer. I've never forgotten that either. Here was this kid, just, you know, a young person, just like ourselves. And he was
Yeah.
like, "I'll teach you how to play soccer." And I've never forgotten that either. Like that human being reaching out a hand to help. And
Wow.
then there were other things. I went to a soccer camp with my brother when we were
Mhm.
young. I think we were probably like 10 or 12, and it was a boys and girls camp, but I was the only girl at soccer camp. There were other girls at the camp, and those girls were going to horseback riding camp, and I was going to soccer camp with all the boys,
Right.
and it was very uncomfortable. The boys were nice. There was nothing wrong with them, and I certainly wasn't harassed or treated badly or anything like that.
Right.
But I definitely didn't fit in because the boys my age were way better than me. So they put me in a group of boys like 2 or 3 years younger than me. So already like their goofiness, and I just didn't fit in with that group. So I played soccer with them all day.
Yeah.
And then at night I had to sleep with the girls who were going off to ride horses all day. So I didn't have any relationship with the girls that I was staying with in the evening. So
Wow.
I was just really, it was just really overall not a great experience, but I went anyway. And you know, my
Yeah.
brother had a completely different experience because he went to soccer camp with a bunch of boys, you know. So there were
Right.
pluses and minuses of being a young girl in sports, but I didn't feel
Mhm.
the way that you felt about diving. You know,
Mhm.
you're I just did it just because my friend was doing it and I wanted to
Right.
be on the team. But I did feel that way about soccer. I loved
Wow.
playing soccer.
Wow.
Um, and I wasn't particularly good at it. I played for a long time, so I kind of learned the game and
Yeah.
I had some strategy and I was okay. I wasn't horrible, but I was never good at the sport. I was just kind of mediocre. You
Right.
know, if go ahead, you were going to ask me
Well,
something.
I was just gonna say, I think that just proves that you don't have to be, you know, quote unquote good at a sport to love it.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But I think that when we were going to high school, it was sort of a different day and age. Like girls that or women, young women that want to play soccer now and they want to play on a high school team or a college team, they got to start when they're young.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they don't develop the skill level to even make the team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I think there's still opportunity maybe for kids to start a sport, maybe in high school. But yeah, there is going to be that lag between their ability and the ability of somebody who's been going to camps and things
Going to
since maybe
camp,
little.
playing on travel teams nowadays. Nowadays, if you're not like connected to a travel team and you're going off and playing, the skill level and the coaching level that these kids are getting at a much earlier age is way different than when we went.
Well, that's true. And that actually brings up something else that I was thinking about with sports and, like you said, with, travel teams and all that. I mean, I don't have kids, so the only thing I know about kids and sports, as things are right now, aside from reading about things, is about hearing from other people, friends of mine who have kids, and to hear about the travel teams and, going, hither and yon with their kids for their sport. I mean,
It's a big deal nowadays.
it's huge and it's expensive.
Incredibly expensive. So there you go. You kind of have to have a family who's making a certain amount of income to even get into the game of playing sports now.
Right. And that is so, well, it's not fair. And I know when I say things like that, I sound like a bleeding heart, and whatever. I am a bleeding heart. I own it, whatever. It's not fair. But
All
that's
right.
a barrier. That's a barrier for kids
All right. Let me
of
give you
a
an
different
example.
socioeconomic status to get into sports and to gain those benefits.
Absolutely. Let me give you a real world life example from my
Mhm.
life. And
Okay.
and my kids have resources. But okay, in high school, my oldest daughter was a cheerleader.
Mhm.
Cheerleading practice every day, just like
Right.
football practice.
Right.
It's strenuous. They're running to keep in shape also. They're running, they're working out, they're stretching, they're protecting their backs, they're flipping each other in the air, for God's sakes. They're in pyramids. It's a
Yes.
sport.
Yes.
But the boys football team and the basketball team had buses to pick them up and take them to the game. But because the girls cheerleading isn't fully seen as a full sport, our school didn't have funding for that. So parents had to make the drive, which is fine. I have a very flexible job. I work in retail. That's one of the beauties of it because it's open all the time, 7 days a week. You can flex in your work. So I would leave work early to go pick up my daughter
Right.
and take her and 5 other girls to the game or 3 other girls or whatever it is because their parents couldn't get out of work early. So
Right.
even the work situation can affect it. But
Mhm.
then also, I would listen to the girls. I'm driving them. I would listen to their conversations. And one of the women on the team, young girl, 18, 17, something like this, says, "Oh, you're so lucky that your mom gets to come to all the games. My mom works. She works during this time. She would never be able to come." So that whole entire time, the whole season, that mom never saw her daughter in cheer one single time because she
Yeah.
was a nurse at the hospital and that was her
Yeah.
shift. She couldn't go. Even that
Yeah.
is a
Yeah. And
disparity for kids.
yeah. And honestly, I mean, as a kid whose mom never made it to any of her swim meets ever in all the years that I dove, I know what that feels like for that kid. I mean, my mom not going was for a different reason, but I get it. That, I mean, that's a hurt that kid carries with them. I mean, yeah, she'll get over it fine.
But yeah,
But
mom
but
had
when
to
you're
go to
when you're
work.
in it, it really stinks. Even if she understands it,
Yeah.
it still stinks.
Of course it stinks. Like I remember a couple things from high school sports. Number one, when I looked up into the stands and my mom was there, my mom was buried into a book.
Mhm.
Her nose was planted in the middle of a novel. She never saw me do anything, but she was there. Her presence
Right.
was there.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, my dad was at every swim meet, but even more so to me, every single soccer game. And you know how every team member has a name, like Cindy Stover's name was Stovetop and Jenny Kent was called Killer and I was called Cujo. My dad was like, you could hear his voice booming. You could hear Stovetop, yeah, stop that goal, go Killer, come on, Cujo. Like I could always hear my dad. And he wasn't just cheering for me, he was cheering for every woman on that field. He knew every player, their stats, what they were doing. He was into the game. My
That's
dad
so
has always
awesome.
loved sports, so that's
Yeah.
a really good, like, connection to have, but
Yeah.
those kind of things, like, as a kid, it just I'll just never forget his support, and that was a message that women can do anything. He didn't
Mhm.
say that, he didn't say women can play soccer, women can do anything, women can sit in a boardroom, woman can be vice president of our country. He didn't say that, but him being there cheering, he
Yeah.
silently said, "I support you."
Yeah. Yeah. And I got that from my coaches, you know.
That's awesome.
So for me, I mean, yeah, it was sort of that, parental stand-in, but it was also that sort of elder figure, even even though most of the coaches that I had for
We're all
diving weren't
young,
really
weren't
that
they?
much older than us.
Yeah, I know.
Um, but it just felt good having somebody believe in me and support me,
Yeah.
you know? And so that was really important. And I think that's something that that's invaluable, you know?
Well, you can also think about us as women out in the world. How can we turn that back and give it to young people who maybe don't have a huge support system? I
Yeah.
think about all those kids that I
Mhm.
did drive to the games. What did I say or what didn't I say that might have affected their lives? You
Right.
know, or my dad cheering for those other kids, they heard their name loud and clear, or their nickname anyway.
Yeah.
Like you have to think of when you're working with youth, what are you saying to them that, like through your words, but more so through your actions, what are you saying that allows them to know that they too can do whatever it is they want to do or be whoever they
Mhm.
want to be? That's an interesting perspective on it.
Right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot. I
And
also took, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, and you know, I think we were lucky to have coaches who were pretty supportive of us and weren't abusive of the power that they had over us,
Oh, yeah. We had
which,
great coaches.
yeah, I mean, I mean, I hear about, like all the stuff with, with USA Gymnastics, with all of the things that were happening there, we were lucky that we didn't have that. We didn't have somebody who was
Taking
abusing their
advantage.
power and taking advantage of us and preying upon us
Yeah.
and being in a position of authority over us.
Yeah, that probably does happen a lot, and especially with young women or men who don't have a huge, support group or self-esteem, and they're finding that at school or through their sports or whatever, it kind of puts them in a vulnerable position.
Mhm. Yeah. I just want to, because I am the nerd of the group, and so I did a little research, and I just want to highlight some of the benefits of girls and women participating in sports. And
Perfect.
my definition of participating in sports is any sort of athletics, whether it's individual or team, whether it's organized or you just do something on your own, whether it's, you know, I don't whether you never compete ever in your life, just something that where you're working to improve something, right? So I looked up a bunch of articles about sports and the benefits of sports and things like that. And the Women's Sports Foundation had a bunch of stats about the benefits of girls and women participating in sports and how transformative sports can be for women and girls.
All right,
And
I got an idea.
okay.
How about you read one and then I'll tell you what I think of it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Less likely to have an unintended pregnancy during high school.
That's interesting because unintended pregnancy. Yes, I agree, because I think playing a sport, number one, keeps you busy. So a lot less
Yes.
time for sex. Let's be for real. But number two, I'm just kidding on that one. Number two, I
Right.
think it just helps
Right.
you, sports help you prioritize. And I will, this whole thing is about honesty, right? This whole podcast about putting it
Mhm.
out there. I had sex
Absolutely.
in high school.
I
And
did not.
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
And
but I did the summer before college, so it's fine. So it was
okay, so that counts.
yeah, it's still high school. So yeah.
So one of the things that I did do before I had sex is I went to Planned Parenthood. Got myself,
Good for you.
I did. I
Good.
got on the pill. Took a couple of my friends with me. We all got on the pill together because I wanted to have sex. So I took them all with me. But part of that was because I know that's crazy, isn't it? Part of it is because I was very clear about what I did and didn't want. And I think sports help you prioritize your life.
Yeah.
I wanted sex,
Yeah.
no babies.
Yeah, there you go. Smart,
Yep.
smart girl.
Yep.
Very
Okay,
smart
read
girl.
another one.
Okay. More likely to get better grades in school.
I don't know if I can go with that. I mean, in general, I think that's probably true. But for me personally, I think I was lazy in school. I was also lazy in sports. I think that I don't know if it's really a regret, but one of the things I know is if I had worked harder, I could have been a better soccer player. And of course I could have been a better diver. I didn't work very hard in diving. When you were talking about how you put all of this into it, I'm like, oh, Jennifer, you're so lazy. But on the real side, you do have to keep your grades to a certain level or they won't let you play. So
exactly.
there is that.
Yes.
Luckily, I was always above that level.
Well, yeah. So I don't think maybe you weren't as lazy as you think you were. I don't know. I think maybe you're being a little.
Oh no, Raquel. I put some very minimal effort into my studies and sports.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Well, and this one sort of goes along with more likely to get better grades, but more likely to graduate high school.
I think that's true. It keeps people involved.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this is a new one for me. I didn't realize this one, but as little as 4 hours of exercise per week can prevent a teenage girl's risk of breast cancer by 60%.
Wow, I had no idea.
I didn't either. I had no idea about that. I mean, it makes sense.
Do many teenage girls get diagnosed with breast cancer?
I think younger and younger women are excuse me, I think younger and younger women are getting diagnosed, but I think my understanding of that was that it cuts the chances of being diagnosed later in life.
Oh, later in life. Okay.
That was my understanding of it. So
yeah, I
was reading something into that, but
I mean, exercise in general, I think decreases our risk for all sorts of illnesses, and a lot of them being related to insulin resistance, and insulin resistance
absolutely
related to not getting enough, too much food, not enough exercise.
Exactly.
Which, is facing all of us in modern day, eat anything you want, any time of the day culture.
Absolutely. Lord. Whew, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there. Okay. Higher levels of confidence and self-esteem and lower levels of depression.
Yeah, I think that's true, because I think you one thing I do
too. I mean, just having that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing I was going to say about that is that I remember being very young and not having scored a goal in soccer, and my dad taught me how to visualize it. And so every night before we went to bed, we would visualize dribbling down the field. What does it feel like? Getting close to the goal, kicking it in. Whoa, yeah, that feels so good. I love it. The team is cheering. And when I finally did score the goal, knowing that you can fulfill a goal, that builds confidence.
Mhm.
I had a goal, I did this, I finished it. Yay! Yeah, agreed.
Perfect.
Long story
Perfect. It's
short,
funny,
yes.
it's funny that you bring up visualization because I did something similar. Um, I think it was the 1984 Olympics, and there was like Time magazine put out this huge spread about different athletes doing, say, a signature thing, like with a runner, their start off the starting block, or with the swimmer, the various strokes, right? And then they did one of Greg Louganis, and it showed, and this is for all of them, but it showed literally his approach to the end of the board, him standing up at the end of the board, then how he holds his body. I mean, basically everything, every part of the dive to when he's in the water. And so I would look at that and visualize myself doing it at night, and then I would go to practice the next day, think about it, and then I would do it. And I was making far more progress in improving than before I started doing that.
Damn, girl, how come I didn't know that you love diving so much? Like we were on the same team and I had no idea.
I don't know. I mean,
did I just irritate you with my like not being so serious about anything? Was I
No, I thought you guys were all so good. You know what I mean? I mean,
I was not a good diver, Raquel.
I thought everybody on the swim team and all the divers, I thought everybody was great. And I was just so excited to be there. I just thought everybody was excellent.
It's so funny because what I learn more and more as I get older is perception is everything.
Yeah.
It is. Our realities on the same team are so different. I was just chilling with my friends. Here you're going for the Olympics.
Exactly.
I liked riding the bus and goofing off with the team.
Yeah. Well, I will say some of my favorite memories are when we would all get, we would come out of the locker room as a team.
Yeah.
And we would be singing some Prince song at the top of it, totally just inappropriate Prince song, right? Bunch of high school girls, and we're singing at the top of our lungs, all kinds of swagger, like we're bad, we got this, we're gonna kick your asses because we're awesome. And and I think about that now and I'm like, wow, we were, first of all, obnoxious, but second, literally singing like Darling Nikki or something at the top of our lungs,
Darling Nikki, trying to so inappropriate.
Thoroughly inappropriate and totally trying to like psych out the other team, and I just remember thinking, I love this.
No, but you were just talking about building confidence. There you are, you're a team, you're together, you're coming out of the locker room, acting like probably idiots, but feeling pretty confident.
Yeah. Like we were like, we're gonna take it.
Darling Nikki. That has nothing to do with swimming or sports.
Nothing at all.
All right, read the next one.
Yeah, nothing. Okay. Okay. All right. Girls and women who play sports have a more positive body image and experience higher states of psychological well-being than girls and women who do not play sports.
I don't know about that. I think that being born, raised in the 80s, and the more and more I talk to people, I think we all have terrible body images. All of us.
Oh, yeah.
And however, as an adult, being involved with running, I have really tried to focus on body strength versus body image. And
Mhm.
actually, even in today's run, I was running and I was thinking about the shape of my body. Here I am at 52 and I'm running and thinking about the shape of my body. I mean, overall, I'm in great shape and I still have a belly, still with everything that I've done. And I was
Mhm.
finally like, today, I was like, why don't you learn to just accept it and let it
Yeah.
go? Like, accept it. So I don't know, Raquel, that's a tough one. Probably it's true. Probably we have a more of an image of the strength and what our body can achieve for us, or
Right.
but I don't know. I have really struggled with body image for my whole life, really. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
What
Yeah. Same. Well, I do remember during, I can't remember which year, maybe it was senior year, maybe junior year, but must have been senior year because the diving coach, Coach Ron, I don't know if you remember him, short guy, great coach, amazing, had a belly.
I don't know if I made it to senior year on the diving team. I don't think I
Okay.
did.
Maybe you didn't. But anyway, so the coach that we had senior year was amazing. In fact, he was one of the most sought after diving coaches in the state. And for listeners who don't know, back in the 80s, Michigan, huge diving state. Huge, huge, huge. In fact, I can't remember the coach's name. It'll come to me later, but the coach who was, I think he was head of diving at University of Michigan, but his son and his maybe both of his daughters were also divers, and he coached them. And one of his Bruce something, I can't remember the last name, but his son competed with Greg Louganis all the time, and it was all they were always neck and neck. But Greg Louganis was always first, and this guy was second. And so it was that guy's dad who was kind of the top coach. But after that guy, our coach senior year was the most sought after coach for diving in Michigan. And somehow we got him. And so he was, great coach, tiny guy, muscular, but he had a belly. And he told me, and remember at the time, I mean, I was way thinner. I mean, I look at pictures now and I'm like, oh my God, I was a stick. What was wrong with me? But he told me I needed to lose 15 pounds. Now, keep in mind, he was probably comparing me to Jenny Kent, who was, small and had been a gymnast her entire life and was muscular and compact and powerful and amazing. That's not my body type. It definitely wasn't my body type then. And he looked at me and said I needed to lose 15 pounds. Now, keep in mind, I was already really successful as a diver and had been there the whole time. There were periods where I was the only diver on the team, the only female diver. And I looked at him straight in the face, did not miss a beat. And I said, I'll lose 15 pounds when you lose 15 pounds. And said it without a second thought. Didn't think, oh my God, I'm so awful. I have to do this. My body is blah, blah. That did not occur to me at all. And that might be the only time, as far as my opinion about my body or my thought process about my body, that my initial reaction was, I'm fine. I'm not going to do anything until you do. My body's good the way that it is.
Damn, that's so cool.
And honestly, that might be the last time I felt that.
No, but here's the big difference between the two of us. My soccer coach, my freshman year, told me the same thing. Pulled me aside and said, you know what, you're a pretty good player, but you need to lose weight. You need to lose about 15 pounds. And I did not have that reaction. I had the reaction of, oh my God, you're fat, you're a loser, you're never going to be able to play soccer the way that you want to play. You're always going to be a slow run. I'm not a fast runner. I'm not, but I have a tremendous amount of stamina. Like I could play the whole game. I've always been that way, but I'm never going to be the fastest person down the field. It's never going to happen. Speed is not my thing. But anyway, it's so interesting. Where do coaches get off telling young women that they need to lose weight? Where do they get off
I
doing
have
that? Okay, we're going back to the last episode. Now I'm angry again. That stuff sticks in the psyche. If they want us to be stronger, if that's what they're trying to say, maybe we need more muscle or maybe we need more practice. But don't tell some young,
yeah.
young boys even. It's not your
Mhm.
business if they need to lose weight.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm. I
not the
mean, it would be different if the weight were hindering my ability to do the sport, or were, I don't know, hindering my ability to, I don't know, do whatever. But it wasn't. And I wasn't big. I was not, I mean, I was
no.
bigger than some of the people on the team because I'm just curvier.
Raquel,
But
I
yeah,
have looked back at all of those pictures. They post them on Facebook from time to time of our diving and swim team.
yeah,
Nobody was big.
yeah,
We
none of,
all
yeah,
thought we were, but
yeah,
we were all teenage girls in various levels of coming in and out of puberty. Like we were,
yeah,
some of us got a little bit chubbier before puberty, like you're supposed to do. And
yeah,
then people leaned out. And I have had a belly practically since I was born, even at my thinnest,
yeah.
even now. I'm in pretty damn good shape,
You're in fantastic shape.
but I still have a belly.
It's okay.
So it is
It's
what it
okay.
is. It's coming to
Yeah,
terms with
exactly.
that stuff. Any other on the list? Do we have any
Oh
more?
yeah, let's see. There's one, this one I think is pretty important. And this kind of goes to what I was talking about, the, sort of the lifelong effects of sports, and really puts into place, I think, or points to why I think it's so important for all little kids to have access to sports, and that there shouldn't be a financial barrier, right? So let's see. Sport is where boys have traditionally learned about teamwork, goal setting, the pursuit of excellence in performance, and other achievement oriented behaviors, critical skills necessary for success in the workplace. In an economic environment where the quality of our children's lives will be dependent on two income families, our daughters cannot be less prepared for the highly competitive workplace than our sons. It is no accident that 80% of the female executives at Fortune 500 companies identified themselves as former tomboys having played sports.
Yeah, I think there's really something to that.
Yeah.
Really something to that. It is about, honestly, I'm going to bring it back. It's about learning to be on a team and learning to lose. Because when you lose a game and you
Yep.
gather, you keep going. And so many people I've met in the workplace, they go for a job and they don't get it, and then they're done. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna, and they don't know that you can lose one and keep going, and then you're gonna win one and you're gonna
Right.
win another one. I think that
Right.
it's so huge. I also think it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to that confidence thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I don't have any
Mm-hmm.
science or statistics, but
Well,
anecdotally, I
well,
agree.
I think it goes to, like, do you remember when, we would end a meet and we'd all go over and we'd congratulate the other team or say good meet, good game, whatever. You
Yeah,
see it in baseball where the teams walk past each other, good game, good game, everybody's high-fiving each other, good game, good game. you
yeah.
know you let it go, you leave it on the field.
It's
If you lost,
sportsmanship.
you learn from it. Yes, it's sportsmanship. You don't act
Sportsmanship.
like an asshole because you lost.
And then when some kid does it badly, either the coach or their parent corrects them.
Yeah,
They're like, no, 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 that's not sportsmanship. And that's what
yeah,
you learn. You
yeah.
learn sportsmanship.
And that, I think, is so lacking right now. And I think, I hate to bring it, well, maybe I don't hate to bring it back, but I think you see it in politics.
You do.
Just because you lost, okay, that sucks. That hurts, but suck it up. Congratulate the other person. Look at what you did wrong. Review the tapes. You know what I mean? Like, look at what you did wrong. Look at your performance and see what you need to do to improve next time.
Okay, but what they're going to do next time is make it harder for people to vote. So I don't agree with that analogy.
I know.
but we can't get into that right now. We can't get into that
I
right now.
know, but this goes back to another sports analogy for me with the voting thing. Say you're competing against, you know, a rival team, and you're always just neck and neck, but you always lose because they have that one person on their team who's the total ringer, right? But the one time that ringer's out, they're injured, and you win. Okay, great, you won, but you still didn't beat the ringer,
Right.
It's a hollow win. It's a hollow win.
Do you
The
really
win,
think politicians care if they get a hollow win? No, they just want to
but
stay in
they
power.
should.
But they don't.
should.
But they don't.
Oh, I know.
But they
But they
don't.
should.
But they don't.
I know.
All right.
But
I think
that's one thing that just one of many things that kills me about all of the voting restriction things that they're trying to pass. That's a hollow win.
they
Don't
don't
they
care,
care?
Raquel.
There's no self-respect.
Raquel, they don't care.
I know.
They just want to win whatever dirty, stinky way they can win. And I say that goes to both sides. I'm not saying
That's true.
I'm not saying one or the other. People just want to win. All right, I got to wrap it up for today.
Okay. All right. Well, this was fantastic.
It was fun.
This was I really dig this episode. I know I say this all the time, but this was really great. And I am going to put a link to the Women's Sports Foundation article in the show notes.
Great.
So that'll be there, and then people can look that up and, you know, yeah, do a little more research on women in sports.
And I just want to say one little thing about that. You worked hard in school, you worked hard on the diving team, and now you're doing the homework for the podcast, man. Making me look bad.
No, this is just
but I'm
this is
okay
my
with
true
it. But I'm okay with it. I'm just here to chill and hang out with you.
Sure, that works too.
Oh, Lordy. All right. Thanks, Raquel.
Thanks, Jennifer. Bye, everybody.
Bye.